Hi all, this is Jan of the Jan Files. I'm going to remind you to hit the subscribe button so you can follow along with what I am doing, not just in relationship to legislation, but in this case into Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Yes, I finally learned how to say her name. And at this point, though, I'm really focusing in on the victims. And today I'm going to read some impact statements that were shared with the judge in the Ghislaine Maxwell trial where she was found guilty. These impact statements are by his victims, and I am not going to name them with the exception of one. And the reason I'm going to name Virginia Giuffre is that she was mentioned by Trump recently about having been stolen, or Jeffrey Epstein stole her from me. Yes, stole. And her family has reacted with a letter admonishing him and decrying any kind of consideration of giving Maxwell immunity, pardon, etc. She committed suicide in April of 2025. This letter is from June 22nd, 2022. Your Honor, my name is Virginia Roberts Giuffre. For more than 2 years, from age 16 to 19, I was abused by Ghislaine Maxwell. Before I begin, I want to acknowledge and profusely thank the police, FBI investigators, prosecutors, and judges who have invested their time and integrity in this case to hopefully set a precedent for victims and the hunters who prey upon them. Now, if it pleases the court, I would like to address my victim impact statement directly to Ghislaine Maxwell. Ghislaine, 22 years ago in the summer of 2000, you spotted me at the Mar-a-Lago Hotel in Florida, and you made a choice. You chose to follow me and procure me for Jeffrey Epstein. Just hours, now hear this, that's my comment, just hours later, you and he abused me together for the first time. Together, you damaged me physically, mentally, sexually, and emotionally. Together, you did unthinkable things that still have a corrosive impact on me to this day. I want to be clear about one thing. Without question, Jeffrey Epstein is a terrible pedophile, but I would never have met Jeffrey Epstein if not for you. For me and for so many others, you opened the door to hell. And then, Ghislaine, like a wolf in sheep's clothing, you used your femininity to betray us, and you led us all through it. When you did that, Ghislaine, you changed the course of our lives forever. You joked that you were like a new mother to us. As a woman, I think you understood the damage you were causing, the price you were making us victims pay. You could have put an end to the rapes, the molestations, the sickening manipulations that you arranged, witnessed, and even took part in. You could have called the authorities and reported that you were part of something awful. I was young and naive when we first met, Ghislaine, but you knew that. In fact, you were counting on it. My life as a young person was just beginning. You robbed me of that by exploiting my hopes and ambitions. Ghislaine, the pain you have caused me is almost indescribable. Because of your choices and the world you brought me into, I don't sleep. Nightmares wake me at all hours. In those dreams, I relive the awful things that you and others did to me and the things you forced me to do. Those memories will never go away. I have trouble meeting new people without questioning if they somehow are going to hurt me too. I don't allow my children to stay over at friends' houses or walk down the street alone. I don't trust anyone to be near them without me or my husband close by. I am hypervigilant because I know that evil exists. You taught me that. There is not a day that goes by that I don't ask why. Why, Ghislaine, did you enjoy hurting us so much? I worry every single day and night that you will get away with it and evade being punished. I will worry about that until you are brought to justice. And what should that justice look like? Ghislaine, you deserve to spend the rest of your life in a jail cell. You deserve to be trapped in a cage forever, just like you trapped your victims. But Ghislaine, I want you to know that while you tried to break me, you didn't succeed. Despite you, I've grown into a woman who tries to do good in the world, a woman who on her best days feels like she is making a difference. My promise to you is as follows. As long as you and perpetrators like you continue to prey upon the vulnerable, I will not stop standing up and speaking out. Together with so many others you abused, we will do all we can to keep predators from stealing the innocence of children. I will never give up. I will never go away. If you ever get out of prison, I will be here watching you, making sure you never hurt anyone else again. Thank you, Your Honor. Virginia committed suicide this year, April 2025. She's not here to carry out her promise, but we are. This should never, ever be pardoned. This should never, ever be excused. No one should take away what Ghislaine and so many others did to these girls and have them have no consequence. That is obscene. So I am here to remind you of these women's voices. The next one I'm going to talk about, again, but in this one I am not going to tell you who said it. If you want to go and look online, you can find these just like I did. This is from the original transcript. These are the statements submitted by their attorneys. They are real. You can find them. So you can do that if you want to dig into what are the names. I don't think that's important. I said why I mentioned Virginia's name, but there are far more victims than the statements I'm going to read. I'm just going to read 2 more excerpts. And I hope you will share this. I hope you will let every person know what was done and what the damage was to these women. I'm going to read the statement from another victim. I am not going to, even though I believe this name is a pseudonym, I still am not going to mention it. If you want to go and find these transcripts, they're absolutely available where I found them on the internet. You have to do a little bit of searching. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do, but this is verbatim their statements submitted by their attorneys. The second impact statement. I began writing this statement on Mother's Day because it has been my experience that was only in becoming a mother to a daughter that gave me the courage and impetus to speak out about the abuse I had suffered and maybe understand the gravity and horror of what had taken place. It was, in fact, when my daughter was about 1 or 2 that I reached out to attorney, I'm going to leave his name out, and began to tell him the full extent of the heinous manipulation and abuse instigated and perpetuated by Ghislaine Maxwell. From the very first conversation, I was emphatic that Ghislaine was a true enabler and facilitator of my abuse. It has been proven to be true for me and so many survivors of this kind of grooming and insidious abuse with whom I have spoken, that the experience of looking at my own baby girl and imagining her falling victim to the atrocities awakened compassion in me for myself as a young girl and for the many, many others who suffered because of Ghislaine Maxwell. It was this experience that fueled a call to action. It was the very skilled grooming perpetrated on me intentionally and consistently that instilled in me the belief that I could not say no to Ghislaine Maxwell or Epstein. I witnessed on numerous occasions over many years Ghislaine Maxwell trying to recruit other girls and making consistent and insistent demands on me and others to do the same. I witnessed her relentless and insatiable drive to meet the sexual needs of Epstein at any cost to the vulnerable girls and women upon whom she preyed and fed to Epstein and the other powerful men to whom she wished to ingratiate herself. There was never any ambiguity or doubt about her having full knowledge of what was to take place once she recruited girls. The many acts that were perpetuated on me by Epstein, including rape, strangulation, and sexual assault, were never consensual and would never have occurred had it not been for the cunning and premeditated role Ghislaine Maxwell played. She repeatedly reinforced rewards for acquiescence and consequences for disobedience. Being around her was like being spun really fast in a circle and then trying to maintain balance. It was like a roller coaster ride designed to disorient and disempower me as a vulnerable young girl for the sole purpose of providing me to Epstein for sexual abuse. The best way to imprison someone is to make them create the prison bars in their own mind, to instill enough fear to make sure they never risk leaving or disobeying, and make the bars invisible to everyone so that no one can see their cage or hear their silent screams. And the third and final impact statement is short, and I'm going to again not say who the name, but this is the third impact statement. Ghislaine Maxwell, I was 22 years old when you entirely derailed the trajectory of my life. You made a choice to view me as an individual less than you. You saw me as an object whose only purpose was to be manipulated, used, abused, regarded as trash, and sent back from where I came. You meticulously convinced me that through your deceptive charm and conversation that you were someone worthy of my bright and inspired young mind to look up to. You crafted your impact on me. You groomed me. Then you sent me off to another monster. I trusted you. You had groomed me so well, I unexpectedly walked myself into the home of that monster. I walked myself to the home of the predator that hurt me. You manipulated and betrayed me into feeling and believing that I was safe. One of the most devastating outcomes to you hurting me is how I then began to view and treat myself. I began to view myself as unworthy of love. I began treating myself as the garbage I was regarded as. My life got so dark, the despair so intense, I nearly did not make it out alive. Do you even remember me? I am on the outside of prison walls. Freedom. Yet I will forever fight for the freedom that you callously stole from me. So those are three out of hundreds, thousands. We don't know how many victims there are. I also have read other impact statements where women have documented that they've tried to kill themselves more than once. I would imagine, because we don't know all of the victims, that many have likely succumbed to suicide. Again, that's just my opinion. I honestly hope that this video will get out there and that you will share it and that you will make sure that people know the words of these women. I am heartbroken that Virginia committed suicide. But all that does is to inspire me to make sure that her words and those of other victims are heard.